Hey everyone, it's Holly. In today's video, we're going to be talking about the 1994 Polly Pocket Light Up Mansion. This is one of the largest Polly sets that was created and part of the Pollyville collection. So let's get started. So I decided to start the video with just a little basic cleaning. I clean all my sets with a multi-purpose cleaner. I try to find the greenest, most natural, simple cleaner I can use to keep these things clean because I don't want to use anything too harsh on them. But I just clean with a Q-tip and the general purpose spray, and you see what comes off of it. So much. I've also started using the second tool. It's a cosmetic micro applicator, often used for eyelash serum and things like that. But I find that it's a little bit better than a Q-tip. And again, I'm just using it in some basic solution there, but I find it's better at getting into these little details. So the cracks of this swing, all the tiny little spots that you can't quite get a Q-tip in. It's amazing how well these little applicators work. And I'm just getting the fine details out with the applicator. So dirty. And then last but not least, this is one of my favorite tools. This is OXO brand OXO. It is technically an electronics cleaning brush, but I use it to just do a final dusting and detailing of all my sets. Now, I'm really lucky because the set that I got came with a box. Let's talk about the packaging. So this is the Mattel box. There are different boxes out there depending on where the set was purchased. I've seen a different set for specifically the one that came directly from Bluebird, but this is the same box that I had as a child growing up in North America. So here you can see it's called the Light Up Magical Mansion. It's part of the Pollyville collection, and it does light up in a few places, notably in the dance floor area and also the tanning bed inside the workout room. In terms of marketing, at the bottom you can see the different dolls that came with the set, the car, the horse and chariot, I should say. And then below the tagline is 14 rooms and 4 levels of luxury living, with a beautiful photo of the set all laid out. Now, it did come with a 24-inch by 36-inch playmat, and I happen to have that, so I'm going to show that to you in a moment, but let's look at a few more pictures from the box. On the bottom of the box, there are a few more beautiful pictures of the set. This one talks about how to turn the ballroom floor to make the figures dance on the floor, and also how the lights on the dance floor will change as you turn this tree that controls the dance floor. It talks about the garage door feature, which you'll see a little bit later in the video, and it talks about the exercise room, and again the fact that the tanning bed is going to light up. It also talks about the stable and the horse and cart that it comes with, and then there's a cute picture of Polly and Laura over here. On the side of the box, it shows a few other Pollyville sets, which is really cute. I had most of these as a child, but not all of them. And I always loved looking at the different sets and daydreaming about hopefully getting them on my next birthday. On the back of the box, there is a photo of the whole play set opened up and what it looks like inside. It does show this little hidden room that I'm going to show a little bit later in the video, but I actually didn't know this was here when I was a kid, and I found out a lot later, maybe after even a year of playing with it, that it was there, because when you're a kid you just rip the box open, throw it away, and never really think about it. So I didn't take a long enough time to look at the details when I got it. So that's really interesting. At the bottom you can see a photo of a girl playing with a playmat, and my set did come with the playmat, so I'm going to show that to you as well. So let's talk about what a complete set looks like. So fortunately, my set is complete. First, you're looking for the flags. It should come with 5 flags, 1, 2, 3, 4, and you can barely see it, but there's a white flag right there. 5 flags across the top. The flags do come out. Unfortunately, because they come out, that makes them very easy to get lost. So most of the sets that I've seen online are missing at least 1 or 2 flags, if not all of them. So having a set with 5 flags is complete. So this set comes with, again, 2 poly figures, one that's in a floor length gown and one that's in more casual clothing. There is also the Rachel doll, which is in full exercise clothing, and then Laura, who's dressed in a full length dress. Then we do have the white horse and the chariot that accompanies the horse, as well as the pink car. On the bottom, you can see there is a battery compartment. This is where the battery is kept. It takes 1 AA battery. Just a tip about using batteries in light up poly sets. I have noticed that poly sets tend to disagree with current batteries. If you use rechargeable batteries, I should say. I'll give you an example. So when I got this set in the mail, the first thing I did was try to see if the lights work. And they do work, but at first I thought they didn't because I used a rechargeable battery. So this is just Amazon Basics rechargeable battery, but I have a lot of different brands of rechargeable batteries at home. I mostly use rechargeables now. And I noticed that inside the battery compartment, it says you need a 1.5 volt battery. And when I looked carefully at this battery, it says in the fine print that it's actually 1.2 volts. So I was a little bit perplexed by that. Then I went and I sought out my regular batteries. So, you know, a typical battery that you would have, an alkaline battery. And a normal non-rechargeable battery, the same size, so a AA, it is 1.5 volts. So when I put the 1.5 volt in, it lit up. But when I used my rechargeable 1.2 volt, it did not. So if you have a poly set and you're putting batteries in it and you think that it doesn't work, see if you're using the correct voltage. Look inside at the plastic and see if it says 1.5 volt. You may just need to use a regular alkaline battery and that might solve the problem for you. So I've got the mansion open in the most natural way possible. The mansion actually sits on the flags. So if the mansion is missing the flags, it won't stay open properly, which is a bit of a pain. Fortunately, my mansion does have all 5 flags on top. So when I go to put the mansion open, those kind of act as a kickstand. This part is a bit higher, so they use that for that section. And then this part sits a bit lower, so it just rests on top of the solarium glass. So that's what the mansion looks like open. Let's talk about what we see here. So we'll go from left to right. Here there is a little outdoor eating area. I find it interesting that there are 3 chairs here, given that this playset came with 4 characters. Now, granted, 2 of the characters are technically poly, so you could argue that there's 3 characters and one of them just has 2 outfits. But I do find it interesting that 4 came with the set and there is only 3 chairs here. I'm not sure why they made that choice. There's nothing for a person to stand on here, so it's a bit odd, but alas, there's 3 chairs. Down the steps, you'll see there is a barbecue area, a table with lots of food laid out, and then there is a pool area. The interesting thing about the pool area is it is deep enough to put a poly in. None of the characters that came with the set actually happen to be wearing a bathing suit, so if you use the characters from the set in the pool, they're just going in the pool with their clothes on, so that's kind of funny. But there's a lounge chair, there's a swing, and the swing actually rocks, which is really cute. A diving board, and then there's a little table. This table actually controls the lights for the set, and we're going to talk about that a bit later, but the table itself is a button, and you'll hear it, and that's used to control the lights. And this feeds all the way down to the sidewalk. You can see the set comes with the classic Pollyville pink sidewalk with the Polly Pocket Pollyville logo in the sidewalk, as we would expect. So it really does blend seamlessly into the Pollyville collection. The next section we'll talk about here is the middle. So this is where the kitchen lives. There are doors to and from the kitchen on either side. Inside, you'll see that there are 2 seats. So there's a little sort of eating bar, eating nook area, a stovetop, a toaster, what looks to be a knife and maybe a butter dish. And then there's a sink over here. At the back of the kitchen, there is an area that contains a mixer and what looks to be a microwave on a shelf. Not a lot of color in here, but there is quite a bit of detail embossed into the set. There also appears to be a washer and dryer perhaps in there, which I know is a fairly normal thing in European countries, not so much in North America to have that in the kitchen, but it looks like there is a washer dryer in the kitchen in this set. So we'll move upstairs. Here you can see we have a workout area. So there appears to be some kind of aerobics mat, an exercise bike. There's a few dumbbells, so some weights down in the corner here. This appears to be some kind of stereo system with some CDs sitting on top of some kind of bench. So I guess this is kind of a dance area. And then there's a tanning bed, which is kind of funny now, now that we're well into the 2020s. But looking back to 1994 when this set was made, tanning was still pretty common and not as considered to be as unsafe as we now know it is. And so tanning beds, I don't know if you'd have one in your home, but there's one in this set. I find that interesting looking back on it in hindsight, but there is a tanning bed in this set. The tanning bed does light up. That is one of the features in this set that will light up. So we'll talk about that a little bit later. One of the interesting points in this section is that you can add a figure and make the figure dance. I'm going to show you what that looks like. So here's one of the dolls that comes with the set. Her name is Rachel, and she clips into that particular spot. The spot is interesting because it has a few different depths in it. And you'll notice if you look at this figure that her legs actually come apart a bit. So you can separate the legs out, which is really unique. There's not a lot of Polly figures that do this. So how this works is you can clip just one of her feet into the base. Okay, so we've got Rachel clipped in now. And now that she's in here, I've got one leg up in the air. The way that this works is on top of this section, back on the roof, this actually spins. So if I turn this and we open this up and look inside, you'll see that she's actually dancing. So the neat thing about that particular spot that you can click them into is that it has different depths. So you can do that with one foot, or you can put them in there with both feet, just like that put together, and it works both ways. So you could use it with a special figure, or you could use it with any Polly figure. They'll all fit. That's the neat thing. Coming down to the bedroom. The bedroom is really large and gorgeous. You can see there's quite a generous bed here. There is a wonderful vanity area over here where Polly can get ready. There is a dresser with a lamp, probably an alarm clock on there, and steps that go out to a balcony. The doors open up, so Polly can go out there every morning, drink her coffee. And then around the corner, there's a bathroom. The bathroom has a door on it, which you can open. And there's a sink, a toilet, and a jacuzzi tub, which is really, really nice. Coming down the steps this way, you'll see a little den area. It has a couch with a rug on the floor, and then there is a computer. And the computer area is really interesting because around this time, 1994, a lot of people were just getting computers in their homes. It was becoming really mainstream to have a computer at home, and so it was still a bit of a luxury item. Thinking back to the 90s myself, I think we got our first computer around 1995 or so. So kind of timely that they started putting computers into the Polly sets. Back up this way, down the stairs, this is the centerpiece of this set, is this dance floor. The dance floor does light up, but the thing that's really interesting about it is that it moves, and the way that you get it to move is by twisting one of the trees out front. I'm gonna put some dolls in the set so you can see how that works. Okay, so I've got some dolls in there, and then the way that you make them dance is you twist the tree, and that causes the dolls to spin. Really, really cute feature. I'm gonna show you in a little bit more detail later how the dance floor lights up, but there are two pillars here that light up, as well as a swan. I like to think that they're ice sculptures. I'm not sure what the intention was, but it's so cute. So here's what the dance floor looks like when it's all lit up. As I turn the tree, you'll notice that the dance floor changes color. What an amazing detail. The way that this works is underneath there is a disc that has a bunch of different colors on it. So as this turns, the disc is at a different part under each piece of the plastic. And so the light that comes through appears to be a different color. In addition to the dance floor, the tanning bed also lights up, which is very difficult to see. It's very faint, but the tanning bed does light up, as well as the dance floor. Okay, continuing on our tour. Over here, there is what appears to be maybe a powder room. It's got some grooming items. You can see what looks to be maybe some makeup, a mirror, a hairbrush. So this looks like an area where Polly would get ready, maybe for a dance. And then outside over here, you can see a stable area. So this mansion does have its own horse stable. The mansion comes with a horse and a chariot, and those two items are kept in the stable. The chariot just simply sits on top of the horse, and then those two items live here in the stable. Now you might be thinking that that's all that there is inside the set, but the set actually has two more rooms that we haven't looked at. Over on this side, the solarium actually is two rooms. If I flip it closed, you may have noticed that the turquoise stairs that lead up to the bedroom from the dance floor have a bit of a landing, and that's because they will go into the solarium portion. So the glass roof lifts up and goes back. There's a little bench in here, and it's, I guess it's a greenhouse, so there's a lot of plants and a cute little room where Polly can sit and maybe read a book. So the next hidden area is actually above the bedroom. If you close the bedroom, you'll see that the roof actually separates. You can pull the roof open, and inside there's an attic. There's a steamer trunk, lots of boxes, including a box that looks like it's got some old sporting goods in it, like a baseball bat and a tennis racket, maybe some helmets. And then over here, there is a telescope for stargazing. There's also some doors that lead out to another balcony. Unfortunately, these doors do not open, but there are two chairs out here where Polly can sit and gaze outside from the balcony at the front of the house. So I actually had this set as a child, and I remember not realizing that there was a room here for a very long time, because it is actually quite hidden inside the roof line. And the way that it shuts, you don't really know to look for anything. It's quite hidden. So I remember discovering that one day and being really surprised, pleasantly surprised. So now that we've toured the set, let's talk about the figures that come with the set. The set itself comes with 4 dolls. So first, the set comes with Polly wearing a long dress. This is a very elegant looking Polly. Her hair isn't as permed as we're used to seeing it. It's just a little bit loose and wavier. And she's wearing a floor-length gown. So she looks like she's really dressed up for a fancy party or ball of some sort. So that's figure number 1. Figure number 2 is also Polly, but she's wearing what appears to be more sort of casual clothes, exercise clothes, maybe dance clothes. And like the Rachel figure I showed you earlier, her legs open so she can use that special area here where you can have her dance with one leg in the air if you want to. But that is the second Polly figure that comes with the set. Third is Rachel, who we saw earlier, and she again is dressed in exercise clothing, and she's got a nice little sweatband on her head. Again, her legs do separate, which is a fairly unique feature, so that she can make use of the workout room. And last but not least is a doll named Laura, and she's also dressed fairly elegantly. She has beautiful shiny silver shoes on and a full-length dress. She's the 4th character that comes with the set. Also included in the set, as we saw before, is this beautiful white horse and this chariot. And it is indeed a chariot and not a carriage because it has just 2 wheels on it. Really, really cute. The horse doesn't really move in any way, but you can, with gravity, put a figure into the set and then just pull the chariot along. So that lives over in the stable. The last accessory that comes with the set is this adorable little car. You can see it has almost 1920s, 1930s styling to it. Very fancy little car, and something that's unique about it is it has moving wheels. There are many Polly sets that have cars, but most of them don't have moving wheels. Notably, there is another set in the Pollyville collection, which is a drive-through burger restaurant, and that one, the wheels don't move. So it's really neat to have one with moving wheels, but you might be wondering, is there a reason that this one has moving wheels and the other ones don't? There is. Here's how this one works. So at the front of the mansion, there is actually a garage, and this is really cute because you haven't really seen a garage in other Polly sets, and it's a fully functioning garage door. When we put the car inside, the car will actually drive out of the garage. So the way that the garage opens is this little tree here. You push on it and the garage door opens. Here's what it looks like inside. So interesting little mechanism, and you can manually close the door with your finger, or the easiest way is to actually push down on the tree and then push the door back shut. That's what the garage door looks like. So here's how it works. I'm going to open it up and I'm going to put this down and put the car inside the garage. So you can do this with the figure or without. I'm going to put a Polly figure inside just for fun. So she does sit properly in the vehicle. I've got her in her car, and then you just load that back into the garage. As you load it in, the garage starts to close, and I usually will just push down on that tree, get the garage properly shut. You'll see that there is a tiny little pink latch there. That's what holds the door shut. And now when I open this garage door, which I'm going to do by pressing that tree, it's going to shoot the car straight out. So let's give it a shot. So really neat, something that's so unique about this set, and it's something that I really appreciated as a kid, but also still appreciate now, because there's not a lot of sets that have such an interesting feature like that. And I think especially in the Polly Pocket sets, it's a bit unusual to have action items. We usually just have moving doors or little hidden compartments, but this is one where it actually really shoots the car out, so I find that quite unique. So here's the absolutely massive playmat that came with the mansion. You can see it has that signature pink Pollyville sidewalk. Up in the corner, there is that Pollyville logo, and there are roads, crosswalks, all sorts of scenery. And I love this because it is so unique in that it has every season represented. There's a little winter area up here, and then as you move down, it kind of becomes springtime with this beautiful waterfall, river, pond area. You can see that the center is shaped like a heart, and as we move further down, those pink sidewalks carry throughout, but it starts to get into more summer activities. So I can see here that there is a little sand pit. This is like an outdoor play structure. There's a tennis court. Over on the side, there is a swimming pool, if I can get that in the frame. There it is. And then as you move further and further down, you'll see that there is ultimately a beach and some ocean, dolphins jumping out of the ocean, and a whole sort of summer scene. Really so adorable. What I find really interesting is there's actually different mats out there, and I have another one that looks very different to this, but this is the one I had as a child. And the thing that's really interesting about this map to me is that the roads are curved. You can see that they're not straight, whereas most of the Pollyville sets were quite square. And so if you tried to line these up, all your Pollyville sets along this mat, it got kind of frustrating because they didn't line up and they were often bigger than some of the areas, and it was kind of difficult to play with. The other map I have is a little bit more quadratic, so I'll show you what that one looks like too. Okay, here is a different Pollyville mat that I have. So made out of the same thin plastic material, you can see the Pollyville logo, but this one is laid out, in my opinion, just a little bit better for actually playing with, because you can see that there are plots of land where you could put down your Pollyville sets and line them up, and they're more square, so it would be easier to play with them, but lots of cute details. There are bus stops throughout, stop signs, fire hydrants, mailboxes, playground equipment. There are even at the intersection some stoplights, which is really cute. Parking spaces. This would have been an ideal place to put the supermarket set. And then there are also other logical places, like this area is what looks to be a cafe. And then as you move down, this is where I assume you would put the children's hospital set, and maybe down here the treehouse set. Really adorable, but this one's a little bit easier to play with. So I'm not sure how many of these there were, something I need to look into, but this mat was made in 1996, so a little bit later than the Magical Mansion set. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed watching me walk through all of the little details of this set. If you have information on where that extra map came from, the one that I got, I found it at a flea market. So I have no idea what set it's from and I can't figure it out. So if you know, please leave it in the comments for me. I would love to be able to figure out where that came from. Tell me what your favorite feature was of this particular set. If you have it, let me know. This was one of my favorite sets as a kid, so it was so much fun walking through this again. If you haven't yet, please subscribe and don't forget to like this video and follow along so that you can continue to watch all of my Polly videos. We will be bringing you Polly videos every single Monday. Thank you so much, everyone.